Hello, friends, subscribers, viewers, whatever you are, wherever you are, welcome to another video. I did mention in the previous two videos that my intention at the moment is to follow this thing through and share my story and see where the hell we end up. Is this anxiety that I'm struggling with, or am I having anxiety in response to something else that's causing these dizziness reactions that I get? If you've watched the last two videos that I put on, the first one was about the dizzy thing, the second one was me sort of being past it and like it was an update and where do I want to go from here. So I said in the last video that I was intending to get myself a blood test. It took longer than expected to get the blood test, but yesterday was the day of my blood test. The big question is, did I actually go for it? So over the past 15 years that I've been experiencing issues with anxiety and dizziness, I've been offered blood tests quite a number of times. Like, my GP has said, maybe we should run some bloods just to see if you're lacking in anything or if there's something untoward going on in your body. Like, let's find out, let's just rule it out. And I've always liked the idea of doing it, but I've never liked the idea of going to the doctors, sitting in the waiting room, having to sit there and have a needle put in my arm. It's like, I don't like the idea of that. Does anybody? I don't think so. So, over the past 15 years, I've had appointments booked for blood tests. Like, okay, yeah, book me in. But I've never gone for one. So, I had a blood test booked for yesterday, being Thursday. Today is Friday. Wednesday night, went to bed. I wasn't feeling too bad, but when my head hit the pillow on Wednesday night, all I could think about was like just negative. Like, it's anxiety. I have an anxiety issue, and I've had one for however many years I have, 15, 16 years, whatever. I don't know whether it's because of the dizzy shit, but regardless of the dizzy shit, like, I have an anxiety issue now. Like, I worry when I anticipate things. I don't like big crowds. I don't like big buildings. I don't like, there's things that I feel anxious about. And medical procedures, or I mean, it's hardly a procedure, but things like that bother me. It's not just a case of sitting there and having a needle put in my arm and then, like, it's the same, I guess, the same sort of anxiety response as I would if I had to go for a haircut, you know, or the dentist or anything like that. So a similar response. It's not what it is, it's how it has to happen, if that makes sense. I don't know, it's the process. It's going through the process rather than actually what it is. So, Wednesday night felt like that. Thursday morning woke up and felt nervous, like felt anxious, proper anxious, as if I was going like, I don't know, I knew I had to go to a supermarket or something like that. It was that kind of anxiety, a bit shaky. So, like, there is no disputing that I have an anxiety issue. Like, that's not something that I'm ever going to dispute, because I know myself over the past freaking however long, over a decade, that I have felt anxiety. Like, it would be nice to know whether the anxiety was in response to dizziness, ultimately, but I don't really suppose it matters, because I have an anxiety disorder. I've said that 38 times already. So, went to the doctors yesterday. My girlfriend came with me just for a bit of support. We put the masks on, as you have to, went into the surgery, spoke to the receptionist, asked if my girlfriend could come in with me, and she was like, yeah, that should be fine. Go round to the waiting room, so we did, and I just stood in the waiting room like I didn't want to sit, and I was standing there, and I was like, I can't believe I'm actually, like, just in this waiting room is a big step, because in the past, like I say, I've had blood tests booked, but never had the balls to just go and do it, just to find out, just for some peace of mind, like some kind of medical test, just to find out, like, what is going on. We stood in the waiting room, or I stood, my fiance, should I say, sat, and we just waited, and then the nurse came to the door, opened the door, called my name, and then I was like, my girlfriend actually asked, could she come in with me, and the nurse said, oh, I'm only in the small room, so there's not really room, so, and I was like, that's fine, like, we'll just do it. And then like I just walked into the room, sat in the chair. I said, one of the first things I said to the nurse was like, I'm freaking anxious. Like, I'm nervous about this. I've never had a blood test before. That was the thing I said. And she was like, oh, no, don't worry about it. Like, what is it? She was asking me, like, what is it you're nervous about? Is it needles? Is it anything? Like, what? And I was like, no, it's literally just the thought of, once you put that thing in my arm, I've got to sit here for a minute and, like, just... So there's a history of blood tests. My son has had blood tests because he has a condition called Gilbert syndrome, which is like, I don't know, something to do with the liver, I think. I'm not a freaking doctor, I can't remember. Something to do with the levels of bilirubin in his blood. So he's had to have blood tests before, and like I've taken him for a couple, but my dad took him for one. Like, this was going back years ago. And Josh, my son, when he came out, he was like, Dad, I nearly passed out in there, man. Like when she put the needle in and was taking the blood, I was lightheaded and just feeling horrible, and he genuinely thought he was going to pass out. And for years, like, that's been the thing in my head, like, that's what's going to happen to me then, because that's the anxious brain, isn't it? The worst possible outcome, that's what's going to happen to me then, because that's the way that we work. So I sat down, and the nurse put the strap thing around my arm, and I just put my arm out, like my left arm, even though I'm left-handed, but I just, like, I don't really care. Just take it. And then she was like, oh, you're just going to feel a little scratch. And I didn't watch, I was just looking the other way, but I was just relaxed. But as soon as I felt the scratch, my brain started, like, buzzing. Like, it just went weird. I didn't pass out or anything. Like, I didn't even feel faint or anything. I was just, for a second, it was just like, shit, that's the moment. Now I can't move because the needle's in. Now she's taking blood. Like, I've got to sit here. But within that moment of it just, like, getting that high-pitched whistling or whatever it was, I don't know, just, it felt weird. I just thought to myself, like, whoa, we're not going there. Like, just chill. And that's exactly what happened. Like, as quick as I'd spoken to myself and managed to just, like, hang on a minute, like, all she's done is you felt a little scratch, and it didn't hurt in the slightest because I'm a tough guy. But, like, as quick as I'd had that horrible sort of just, like, genuinely just a split-second reaction, I'd managed to just talk myself out of it. And then before I knew it, like, it was done. And she was putting the plaster thing on, and then she was just chatting to me for a minute. And then she was like, everything alright? And I was like, yeah. Like, sound. No problem. And then we went out. And, like, I don't know. Like, that's pretty much the moral of the story, is the same as every damn story that we tell ourselves in advance of doing anything when it comes to anxiety. Like, oh, it's going to be horrendous. I'm going to pass out. It's going to be the worst possible situation. It's going to be embarrassing. I'm going to end up needing more medical attention or whatever. Like, no, it just doesn't freaking happen, does it? It's crazy how we allow our minds to just dictate and just throw fear and, like, these catastrophic thoughts. And if you let them escalate, and if you don't challenge it in that moment, then it can become horrible, hostile thoughts. It's not nice. So I should get my results back next Thursday, so expect another video next week with some news. I don't know what it's going to be. I also have a referral letter to see an ENT, because, like I say, I'm following this up. I want to know what's causing that dizziness. Is it anxiety? I don't know. Like, we're 50-50 right now. But the waiting list for the ENT thing was, like, it said most people get an appointment within 48 weeks. That's a long time. That's nearly a year. So there was no appointments available, so I had to just leave a note with the hospital and just say, get in touch with me, like, whenever an appointment becomes available. So I don't hold much hope. But the bloods thing will be good, just to know, like, I don't know, is something going on? I don't like to say I hope, I hope there's nothing going on. But I also think there's nothing going on. But I don't want to say that, because knowing me, I'll jinx it and I'll end up having some rare fucking thing. But yeah, I don't know, we'll just see. we'll just see, won't we, a week's time. So expect another video next week. This afternoon, like, just to throw a bit more stress at me, we're going to look at a new house. We may be moving, so people know that that's one of the most stressful things that you can possibly do. So we're going to look at a new house this afternoon. Me, my fiance and my daughter, we're going to have a look round, see if it ticks all the boxes for us. And yeah, maybe, I don't know, if we do move, it will be pretty much the week before Christmas. So yeah, if you're going to do things, you know, do it properly. If you're going to stress yourself out, bring it. I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything's okay. I feel okay. I feel fine. Like, I'm not nervous about doing this. I'm back to doing and feeling the way that I was before the dizzy thing a few weeks ago. So let's hope it continues. I will keep you posted, as always. Thanks for any comments in advance. Appreciate it, as always. Feel free to share your story below in the comments. And yeah, hit subscribe if you haven't already, because there will be more. Hopefully. No, there will be. I'll see you then.